What is up, and welcome back to Zen Business. I'm stoked to be here. I hope that you're excited to be here as well. Today, we're going to talk about stage 2 of how to manifest anything that you can desire or come up with in your mind. I know it sounds crazy, but give me 20 minutes of your time. I promise it'll be worth it. And if you just, what's the worst that could happen? If you just give this one shot, maybe something small comes from it, you can see the power of it. So let's go ahead and jump in. I want to get right down to the chase, but before I do, let's recap what we talked about last episode. So before you begin the manifesting process, it's really important that you take care of these key milestones. First, you have to understand the law of attraction. So this is a law. It's a rule. It is set in stone. There are no compromises in the law. So everything that you do has, just the cause and effect, right? Everything that you do has an implication. So if you have negative circumstances in your life right now, it's likely a result of something that you've done in the past or that's happened to you and you've been living out that trauma. So in order to understand the law, you have to get the book Asking It Is Given. Also, The Secret is another great book to use as a primary resource for this. But understanding that the law, that there are no accidents, right? So when you abide by the law and when you understand the law, it starts working in your favor, just like any other, understanding of the law. If you understand the speed limit, you won't get speeding tickets, right? Okay, second, understanding that you were born to desire, to have desires, and to fulfill those desires. You were born with intentions, and your purpose in life is to fulfill on those intentions. You don't ever have to feel bad about wanting things, about wanting nice things. You don't have to feel bad about wanting money and prosperity or family or whatever it is. You were born with those innate desires, and that's what makes you unique. That's what gives you a creative perspective on things, because you have a certain set of preferences. And those preferences are ultimately what will turn into desires, which will turn into vibrations that you send into the universe and that the universe brings back to you through manifestation. Third, trusting your emotions. You have to understand that your emotions are your guidance system. They're in a place, they're configured in a way that put us on the right path, right? Our gut instinct, how we feel about things, this is what determines the correct direction that we should be taking. What is most in alignment with our body, our mind, and our soul, right? That's where the gut instinct comes from. It's the physical, the spiritual, and the mental component. And when those are all aligned, that's when things start happening in your favor. The concept of green lights, the concept of things kind of coming to you, getting momentum, riding a wave. That comes when you're in alignment with your emotions, and your emotions are the guidance system to tell you whether something is right or not right for you, by it either feeling good or it not feeling good. And then the fourth is when you are manifesting, the heightened states are the most powerful time to be manifesting. So when you are excited, when you're feeling very positive, if you send out those rockets of desire, as the book calls them, when you're excited, when you are in a high state of receiving, when you're feeling optimistic and positive, that's when manifestation is strongest. So there's a timely component to it as well. So if you want the notes to go along with this, they will be in the show notes. They're also down in the comments below here on the YouTube video. And of course, they're in the book, but I've culled it down to be a much leaner version for your purposes. So once you got those 4 bullet points knocked out, then we move to section 2, which is the mindset habits that you need to have for manifesting anything that you desire. Now, the mindset is everything, because the mind is what calibrates our heart desires with our life and physical intentions, right? So we use our mind to calibrate our mind, body, and soul. So the mindset is the crux of all this. You have to have the right mindset. And if you don't, things will not feel good. And when things are not feeling good, that is a sign of resistance. That means that you are resisting what is supposed to be coming your way. For example, let's just say that you are frustrated because you don't have enough money coming in to pay the bills, and so you're angry, and then you get your belt loop caught on a door handle, and then you stub your toe, and then you get into a fender bender. Those are all results of resisting, right? Instead of just allowing and saying, I trust the universe, it will bring money into my account, and I don't need to panic or freak out or anything. So that is a mindset habit that you have to work out of, right? the negative perpetual loops, a lot of people live in those, or maybe they live in a kind of numb state where they don't actually feel their emotions. So this episode is all about getting the mindset habit right. So the first mindset habit, we did an ode to this earlier in the last episode and just now, which is being clear on your vision. So your vision will ultimately manifest, whether you like it or not, right? So whether you are conscious of it, whether it's something that you want at a surface level or don't want, it will happen. That is the way the law works. So you need to be clear on your vision. Now, getting clear on your vision is kind of the hard part, right? A lot of people don't know what they want. People come to me all the time and say, hey, I'm stuck in a rut. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I want. So that is where you have to peel the layers back on the onion, or you have to be introspective and look inside. And the best ways to be introspective are journaling, meditation, talking with friends that you trust, people who are non-judgmental. Because ultimately what you're trying to do, and this is, a lot of like how persuasion works, is you want somebody who's going to ask the right questions, going to ask why, and then you give them an answer and they ask why again and again and again and again until you get to the heart of what's actually happening. So this is something that is, in the warm, soft center of us, right? It's all our heart intentions. But a lot of people don't know what those intentions are, right? Because they haven't peeled back the layers. And that's where, journaling and yoga and, meditation, all of those practices come in. What we're trying to do is, I think of it like a looking glass, right? And if there's a bunch of dirt and, let's just say residue on the glass, we're wiping off the layers until we can see clearly, what it is that we actually want. So a lot of people might think that, let's just say they want, a fast sports car and a big house and, beautiful wife or whatever it is that, you might want at kind of like a physical level, but that may not be necessarily what you want at a deeper level, right? What you want at a deeper level is safety, freedom, confidence, empowerment, whatever it is. So the surface desires are often a distraction, and the surface desires are driven by the ego, right? If you want a fast car, maybe it's because you were poor growing up and you didn't have fast cars and you always saw people and driving their sports cars, you wanted one, and so it made you feel a sense of lack because you didn't have one. And so now when you look at it at a more practical sense today, that is a reaction to a past trauma. But your actual desires are a different, it's just a different set, right? So when you become clear on your vision, that takes time. I have something called the Zen OS handbook, or the mental operating system, where it goes through my 3 business goals, my 3 personal goals, my personality traits, my values, my guiding principles, my role models, my mentors. It has a vision board. So that process, the first time I did my Zen OS handbook, it took me probably 2 weeks to get it sorted out. Now I'm pretty clear on it, and pretty much everybody who I've worked with who've tried to, put that handbook together, it took them a lot of time, because most people haven't gone through the process and ask the hard questions. What are my values? What are my principles? What do I stand for? What do I want in life? And that's really where you get clear on your vision. And so for me, early on, it was, helping people lose weight because I had a fitness app. But now as I've matured and I have seen that through, 5-6 years of iterations, my vision has become, it's similar, but that was like the surface level of it, right? So just over and over, peeling back the layers, getting deeper at what I want to do. And so my new purpose that I've uncovered through, countless spiritual journeys, let's just say ayahuasca and psilocybin and meditation and yoga and all these different things, that has all cleaned off the looking glass for me and helped me see what I want really, really deep down at a very fundamental level, what I want. And what I personally want, I want freedom. I want to live a rich and fulfilling life. I want to experience all the flavors that life has to offer. And I want to help out a lot of people by connecting them with their spiritual self. I've had divine interactions, and that is the ultimate goal, is to help people connect with their divine self. So, speaking with God, having these interactions where he gives you a higher power, a higher order mission to fulfill on. So that's what I've discovered, not just about, helping people lose weight or, get happier with their bodies. That's kind of step one. But now that I'm in, like, let's just say step 25, my vision is about helping people connect spiritually. So that's what it is for me. But now that I understand my vision, I can begin to align my activities around that, right? And naturally that happens, right? Because everything I'm doing is in relation to that big picture goal. How can I impact millions by teaching them to connect with their divine self? And business is one mechanism we use to get there. That's why the show Zen Business is about having purpose-driven business that will help you peel back those layers, help you realize that vision. So on a grand level, it's about what do you want to do and where do you want to go. But on a more tactical level, when it comes to manifesting, it's about being really clear on that one specific thing that you want. And what we talked about last episode, where I said, you have to get started with something small, try manifesting something small. That would be a small version of the vision. So just understanding that, whether it's that house that you want or that job that you want, or, that big paycheck or whatever, that partner, etc. Whether it's you want to learn to surf and catch a wave in, 4-foot waves, whatever it is, maybe that's something for me. Okay, real quick, if you could do me a favor, if you know somebody who's going through the challenge that we're discussing today in this episode, share it with them over text. Just hit the share button, iMessage it or text it to them. And it's really no risk for you, only benefit for them, huge help for me, and it helps me keep pumping out authentic, meaningful content every week for you. So do me this favor, text it to a friend who you think might be helped out by this, and I will be eternally grateful. All right. Back to the show. Okay, so once you get clear on your vision, and this is something, again, I recommend journaling about it. You can literally do word vomit. Just open up the journal on a Sunday afternoon and write, and just let those deeper intentions come out, because the more you kind of probe yourself, the more it will come out over time. Second is to remove fear and doubt. So fear and doubt are basically the blockers. Doubt and fear represent resistance, right? In the book, it talks about how whenever something doesn't feel good, that means we're resisting, right? For example, what I said earlier with, your belt loop getting caught in the door and then getting stuck in a fender bender and things like that. That happens when you're resisting. And this is very hard to pick up on. You have to be really, really in touch. And you also have to slow down and quiet down a lot to understand. Because for me, it was, I thought I was very aligned, and I thought I was in a big state, a higher state of allowing. So, allowing the things I want to manifest to come through. But in practicality, there were times when I wasn't feeling good. And I realized, let's just say, over the last 2 months, I was starting a new business, and I had this frustration because the company wasn't profitable yet, right? Of course, it's a brand new company. It's not really expected to be profitable off the bat, but it should, that's kind of my goal here. So the fact that I felt frustrated about that means I was resisting. I was not allowing, right? So even for somebody who's been practicing this for 5-6 years, I still suffer from the fact that I will feel negative. Like, let's just say if I want something like, I want to hit, 10 grand a month in revenue for this new product. If it's not hitting that and I'm feeling bad about it, that means I am resisting, or I have fears, or I have doubts. And if I unpack that for you in real time, it's like, okay, well, I got employees to pay. I got, bills. I've got this and that. So those fears that there might be another implication from not having that revenue coming in, that represents resistance. So now talking through it, I'm like, okay, I need to let go of those fears and concerns. I need to take a deep breath and just let it happen. It will happen how it's supposed to. And that's, again, a practice that you can reveal through meditation and yoga and journaling and other spiritual modalities, because you have to take a step back when you're not, heated up emotionally, when you're not in a reactive state. So every day practicing, how can I remove the fear and doubt? If it doesn't feel good, that means I'm resisting. That's the bottom line. So if you're ever not feeling good, that is a result of you resisting something. You're just not letting something happen. So that's something to take back, take a note of it, write it down right now. If it doesn't feel good, then I am resisting something. And that's a really, really important one, especially if you felt moody or if you haven't been getting the things that you want and it's frustrating you. That means that you are in a state of resisting. And when you can let go of all those expectations of self, you can let go of the ego expectations, or I have to have this much money, or I'm comparing myself to so-and-so. Once you get to that state and you can let those go, you acknowledge, okay, wow, I'm comparing myself to somebody. That's why I don't feel good. Once you let go of that, that's when the allowing begins to happen. And it's very counterintuitive, right? Competition and, American competitivism and, capitalism and everything kind of encourages us to compare ourselves to other. And I think there's a place for that. But if it is causing you pain, then it is generally not in alignment, right? It is causing resistance, and that means you are not in a state of receiving. So, for example, if you get your belt loop caught in the door and then you spill your coffee on the way to to work, and then you're having a bad day, you may have been in line for a blessing that day, but you might have missed it because you were not present and paying attention, right? So that frustration, that emotion was stronger than the emotion of positivity and acceptance and allowing. And so you have therefore blocked out that vibration from the universe, right? And the way that the universe works is, let's just say I'm waiting on a client who owes me $10,000. If I am feeling good and I am sending out positive vibrations, when I talk to that client, at a very practical level, I will reassure them, right? They'll feel good because I'm feeling good, right? People mirror each other. And so then when they get off the call, they're going to be more inclined to pay me because they're feeling good. But if I entered that call feeling negative, they would have picked that up and then had some subconscious fears. So at a very practical level, you can see how that works in real life, but it's much deeper than that. I just wanted to give you a very scientific example, but at a spiritual level, the way the universe works is we send out a desire, right? Our heart sends out a desire for, I want this new client to close. That vibration is sent into the universe. The universe does its magic, goes and visits the person who you want to pay that bill, and it puts it upon them, right? It gives them that inclination, that gut feeling, hey, I need to proceed with this partnership. It's going to be very fruitful, and then they pay, right? So that it is literally like an electrical pulse that goes up into the universe, across, down to the other person, and then they feel that positive feeling of, oh, I want to get going with this. But if I'm feeling fearful or negative, imagine the effect it's going to create in them. In a personal interaction, of course, it's going to instill fear. But on a more spiritual and energetic level, you're going to plant doubt in them. You're going to put up a resistance. So then you won't be in the state of receiving, and the likelihood that they pay that invoice becomes much lower because they've got a negative emotion around it now, and now they're resisting. And now you see how the whole cycle works. Okay, so number 1, be clear on your vision. Number 2, remove fear and doubt, remove resistance. And then number 3 is align your behavior. So we have to align our behavior to our vision and to what we want. So this is it's one of those things that's a simple answer, but it's a difficult solution, right? It's easy to say align your behavior, and I struggle with this every day, but I also practice it every day. And I've been practicing it for years, and it's still not easy. But aligning your behavior to those goals. Now, like I said, in the Zen OS handbook, I have my 3 business goals and my 3 personal goals for each quarter. Under each goal, I have how I'm going to get it done, and I write out a list of bullet points, and then why I want to get it done. So that connects the left and right side of the brain. The logic is the how, and the why is the passion, the purpose, and the heart feeling. So when you put those together, it creates a very deep level of conviction with that vision or that goal. And then that's when it starts making it easy to align to that goal, right? So if I read my goal sheet every day and I have a goal of, making $100,000 a month with the company or something like that, that means I need to close 10 clients, which means I need to speak to 100 prospects and I need to market to 1,000 people. So if I've only marketed to 500 people, then I have to get to work marketing to the other 500 until I've got 5 more leads and then 5 more closed clients, right? Or 15 more leads and 5 more closed clients. So that is how we align to that. And that's why I like working on the quarterly, cadence where I have a certain set of goals and then the how and the why. And when you read that every day, it keeps you really focused on that goal. It keeps your behaviors really aligned to that. Now that's how it works at a practical level, but at an energetic level, just like we don't want to have a state of resistance happening that will block us out from what we want. Also at an energetic level, we have to be aligning our behavior to our higher self, right? Like what it is that we want to align with, mind, body, and soul, and letting that permeate at a deep level. So when you have a really clear vision and you have a deep heart connection to it, the why, and then you have the how, which is the brains of the operational process of getting something done. That is when those behaviors become natural and easy, but it has to be connected to your heart, right? It has to be at a deep conviction level. If it's not, you'll give up on it. I'm sure you've experienced things where you're passionate at first, but didn't really have a lot of deep conviction around it, and then you gave up on it. For example, people always, go on health kicks that last like 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then it's over because they, at a deep level, they haven't overcome their desire to indulge, right? They still want to eat what they want. Until they remove that deep connection, the insecurity that's causing them to overeat, then their behaviors will not consistently align to it. And that's why, again, it really helps to journal and to read your goals every day, because you're constantly refining and aligning, right? Refining the goals and aligning behavior to the goals. So your behaviors have to support it. And I think it goes without saying, but things like staying up super late, partying, drugs and alcohol, deviant behavior, all that stuff is generally going to be out of alignment, right? Because that doesn't make you healthy. And when you're healthy, you're happy, right? Everyone's had those days where they got a great night of sleep and they felt amazing the next day. When you have good energy, you feel positive, etc. So things that take away from that energy, people, activities, bad sleep schedules, bad workout schedules, those are all what lead us to a state of negativity and fear and things like that. So generally, this is why people stop drinking and stop doing drugs and stuff like that, because they realize those things are not contributing. Those behaviors are not aligned with their bigger vision. And when they reach a state of awareness where they make that connection, oh wow, I'm doing things that are self-sabotaging, and then they stop, let's just say, staying out until 2 a.m. drinking with their friends, then they wake up early the next day, and then they feel good, and then they go work out, and the cycle continues. So that's a little bit about how you can align your behaviors better. I will leave links to some of these resources in the show notes. I think the quarterly goal system, the Zen operating system, or the mental OS is a great place to start. Also mood boards, journaling. I can leave you some meditations that will help kind of, when you quiet down, let those deeper intentions percolate. Okay, next is number 4. This is overcoming the test from the universe, number 4. So the universe is always going to test you, right? And a lot of people ask, like, why God? Why me, right? And you have to understand that these challenges are what make life interesting, right? If you were just born into a trust fund and you have millions of dollars to your name, you would have a completely different level of appreciation for that money than somebody who worked 20 years to earn their first $1 million. And you wouldn't spend it as easily. You wouldn't take it for granted. It would feel really good to spend each dollar that you made. And those challenges, those pitfalls, they're all to teach us, right? Now, when I was younger, when I had less money and I didn't have as much alignment in life, I used to have issues all the time, from, paying a bill late to, forgetting to renew my car registration, to having health issues and stuff like that. Those kind of things are all the universe's way of aligning us back to our goals, right? So let's just say I miss a credit card bill and I get a mark on my credit score. That's very frustrating, right? Especially if you're like trying to buy a house or something like that. That is the universe's way of telling you, okay, maybe you should set up auto pay. Maybe you should, set up a better budget so you can keep control of your bills. Maybe you should stop spending so aggressively, and so on. So it's important to embrace those challenges, those fears. They're part of the journey. That's what makes it fun, right? Like the deeper down that you have gone, the better the glory feels when you reach the top, right? Like it would feel like nothing special if a helicopter drove you to the top of a mountain and then you put your hands up and you go, I did it, right? It's like, well, you didn't really do anything. Unless you've endured the cold, the wind, the miles and miles of vertical hiking, the dehydration, the shortness of breath, conquering that mountain just doesn't feel like much. Number 5 is embracing gratitude without caveat, right? So this is the practice of not only accepting the pitfalls and the challenges and stuff that are going to bring you to your knees and are going to, make you question everything. Remember, everything happens for a reason. That stuff is all part of the journey. And it's life's way of teaching you to deal with the things that cause that, right? So once you can accept those, then you can come to a place of gratitude. In the book, it talks about this grading scale called emotional set points, right? And I think it goes from like -15 up to +15, and it's this range of emotions. So if let's just say a 14 is a state of excitement, right? And you are at a state of -2, you can't just jump. Let's just say a -2 is discontentment. You can't just jump to a state of 14 positivity. You have to work your way up the scale. And the way you do that is through gratitude. You don't say, why did this happen to me? You say, why did this happen for me, right? Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, right? It's all a way of teaching you, it's all a way of empowering you and giving you the beautiful experience of life. And so gratitude is the main mechanism for moving up the emotional scale. So when, let's just say, recently I was pulling out of my garage. I have a really small parking garage area, and I backed into it, and I crashed my G-Wagon into the corner and smashed one of the corners. And it's extremely frustrating, a completely mindless mistake. It was completely my fault. And I was hurrying to yoga, of all places. And that was a great lesson in, one, being present, two, don't hurry, period, right? At a very macro level, don't hurry in life. And then three, give yourself more time, right? Like don't leave the minute you need to leave 5 minutes before. Like how hard is that? I could have just cut off my work just a little bit sooner. So those kind of challenges, I still haven't come to a state of gratitude on that accident. It's still very frustrating for me. That frustration is a state of resistance. And so until I accept that happened for me, that was the universe's way of saying, you don't need to hurry. It's gonna be all right. You don't need to be frantic. Whether it's drinking too much coffee or taking on too much workload or being distracted or, whatever it is, that is happening for me, right? And I have to accept that is the universe's way of teaching me, if you want to have this nice car, you need to treat it respectfully. You need to treat yourself respectfully, and you need to slow down. So that was a great lesson to learn there. Number 5, got one left after this. Number 5 is turn envy into inspiration. Now, we did a little bit of a touch on this earlier. When we're looking at, let's just say, our competition, right? Or somebody that a role model, somebody we want to be, somebody who embodies where we want to go. Turning envy into inspiration. So this is the practice of looking at what somebody else is doing and being proud of them. It's that simple. If somebody is doing something that you want to have, either have or be doing, then you have to acknowledge them for that. You got to remember, it's like the idea of an overnight success. There is no such thing as an overnight success. There's 10 years of work, blood, sweat, and tears, and dedication, and maybe bankruptcies and backbreaking experiences before somebody gets to that overnight success. And all we see is the surface, especially with social media. We see somebody post a picture of the new house that they bought, or the new car that they bought, or the wedding that they're having, or whatever. That relationship preceding that wedding might have been 4 years long. They might have had 2 failed engagements prior to that and finally got to a point of a successful wedding, right? So if we look at that and envy the fact that they have found their partner and they are, on the track to, creating a beautiful family and having a great life and all that, that is an endpoint that we're looking at. We're not looking at the journey. And as soon as you can become to understand that, as soon as you can come to a place where you appreciate them serving as inspiration for you, that is when you come into a state of allowing. That is when you stop resisting, right? So again, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Somebody else having a big achievement and serving as an inspiration for you, that is a favor. It is the universe's way of serving you inspiration. So you need to abandon the concept of envy. Any negative emotion is going to have self-sabotaging effects on it, right? Fear, anger, jealousy, whatever. All of that is going to be self-sabotaging. And it's going to cause a state of resisting, like we said before. If it doesn't feel good, you are resisting something. And so there's a big state of allowing, a big state of letting go that has to happen. And then, of course, 1, things are less tense and they come to you more easily. But 2, you can live more peacefully day to day. And then, of course, that's when positive stuff starts happening, because at a very energetic and fundamental level, the universe starts sending the blessings that it's been trying to give to you, but you've been resisting because you're caged up and frustrated or angry or jealous, and it can't get in, right? Those vibrations, like if you think about it like two waves, like a sine and a cosine wave, and they are, interacting, they have to match together, right? The frequencies that you want to bring into your life, you have to be tuned to those frequencies. You have to be putting off of those frequencies. So if you're putting, let's just use for example a wave of 43 hertz, and a higher vibration is a 53 hertz, the radio signal will not connect, right? You can't tune to a radio station that is 101 if you're set on 98.9, right? You have to tune those frequencies to align. And the way you do that is through your emotional guidance system, through tuning your emotional state to a place of allowing, to a place of acceptance, a higher vibration frequency. And last but not least, you need to trust in the universe. Remember law 1, it is the law, right? There is no exceptions to the law of attraction. And when you accept that, then you start working within those boundaries. And that's when things start happening for you. Well, they're always happening for you, but then you can actually accept it and see it for what it is. So trusting in the universe. You've watched countless people achieve their dreams. It can obviously be done, but those are people who were allowing it. They were accepting it. They were putting in the hard work. They were turning envy into gratitude. And you have to reach that state of trust in the universe first. Now, again, easier said than done. This is why things like ayahuasca journeys and other type of, spiritual escapades, if you will, help people realize that, because when you're in that state of extreme awareness, you peeled away all the layers and all of the distractions of life, and you're looking at just the heart and soul of who you are and what you really want. And you see that the universe is saying, I want this for you. I want you to fulfill on your desires. And when you can come to that place and accept that the universe is working, the universe is conspiring in your favor, when you accept that at a very deep level, then you let go of all the resistance. Then you let go of all the fears. And that's when things start coming your way. So I'll leave these 7 bullet points in the show notes for you to take and keep in your notes. This kind of stuff, the process of repetition and reviewing and all that stuff all helps. So whether, even if it makes your workstation look tacky, write it down, put it on a post-it note, keep it where you can see it daily. Your goals, your intentions, your affirmations, all that stuff helps contribute to that state of alignment. All right, thanks for listening. I hope this has been enlightening for you. In the next episode, we are going to talk about how to begin manifesting and how to get started with something small, and the crazy story of how my dog passed away and I manifested another dog like him, and then that dog came into my existence, and it was just a really wild and serendipitous experience. So I'll tell you the whole story in the next episode. Make sure, if this episode was helpful, if it was interesting to you, share it with somebody that you care about. You don't have to post it on social media if you don't want to put it on blast. Just text it to somebody, or if you do want to post it on Instagram, tag me and I will repost it and much appreciate it, and we can help spread this mission and this story of enlightening more people to live out their dreams. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you on the next episode. Ciao for now.